Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and today we're going to catch up on a little cigar news. There's been a lot going on lately, and, I picked out a couple of things that I thought were interesting and important, and so, we're gonna touch on that a little bit. But first, I am going to fire up a cigar, and the cigar I'm going to be smoking today is the Plasencia Reserva Original. Original? Whatever. I don't know if we're making it fancy and calling it original or if we're just calling it original. It's spelled original, so that's how I'm going to say it. Anyway, this is a Nicaraguan Puro, and I'll be honest, I had trouble figuring out what the name of this Vitola is. So when I looked it up, I found they make Toros. Of course they do. Those are 6x50. This guy is not 6x50. This is a 6x... It's definitely a 6x40, maybe 6x40 something. So yeah, I have this random Plasencia, and I don't know what the Vitola is. So yeah, I don't know if I got this in like a gift pack or where I got this even. I don't know where it came from, but I have it, and so I'm going to smoke it. And so it's time to cut the cigar, and the official cutting is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Two Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows Two Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and awesome customer service. So head on over to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. And remember, that's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar. All right. So, I knew I had this, and I just don't know where I got it. Now, I will say at one point, a while back, I had a good deal given to me on a Plasencia gift pack at like Christmas time. It was like one of the little samplers that they do. And if you get those, you get their various blends, but they come in Vitolas that they don't normally put them out in. And so I'm wondering if this is one that maybe was in that maybe this is one that was a cigar that they don't normally make, but I have it, and so I'm going to smoke it. And I'm just double checking to make sure the board is recording. So anyway, while I fire this guy up, why don't you guys listen to the greatest commercial you've ever heard?
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame.
Well, I don't know, 'cause what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. They say authentic, so we're not confused, while the others say it's a word that's just abused.
I guess that's so, they can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino can't be beat.
Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Cigars uses authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. All righty, guys. Well, that was fun. This guy's got a little bit of spice right off the bat. Now, that could very well be because I am smoking this fresh off a bowl of cereal. I did have a bowl of honey bunches of oats with milk. And so it may be that the milk and the cereal have swayed my palate one direction, and maybe the cigar is coming in a different direction, and there's quite a bit of pepper, and so it's like all of a sudden just like blowing it up, in a different way. I don't know, but I'm going to keep smoking it because I'm enjoying it. So let's go ahead and get into some news. All right, so our first story, whatever, that I want to talk about, actually, I have papers. See, it's nice and official, just like on the TV. Actually involves Plasencia. So on Friday, a large curing barn that belongs to Plasencia caught fire. It was at one of the family farms in Esteli, Nicaragua, near Finca El Tuco, one of the family's most high-profile farms. Plasencia has extensive growing operations in Honduras and Nicaragua, and at the time of reporting, it was unclear the amount of tobacco lost, but the structure was very damaged. I then received a statement from Plasencia. And in the statement, they say that they are confirming that a fire occurred today at one of the Plasencia farms in Nicaragua. The situation has been contained and is currently under control. No injuries have been reported. That's the important thing. Structures and tobacco can be replaced. People cannot. So thank God no injuries were reported. The company's established emergency action plans and safety protocols were immediately activated, allowing for coordinated response efforts between the Plasencia team and local authorities. Plasencia extends its sincere gratitude to the Esteli Fire Department and all first responders for their swift action and professionalism in managing the incident, and it remains focused on the safety of team members, partners, and surrounding community. Operations continue without interruption. The company is also deeply appreciative of the immediate support offered by fellow manufacturers and members of the Esteli cigar community. The solidarity and willingness to assist reflect the spirit of collaboration that defines the region's tobacco industry. And then Nestor Plasencia, the fifth-generation member of the family, said in a quote, "We are grateful that the fire was contained quickly and our people are safe. Our team responded with professionalism and discipline, and we are thankful for the rapid coordination of the Esteli Fire Department. We are equally moved by the support from our fellow manufacturers in Esteli. This industry truly operates as family." So that would be what's going on there. Now, it doesn't sound like this is nearly as big of a fire as like what AJ Fernandez experienced. God, was that last year? I don't know. These fires, no offense, and I don't mean to make light, but it seems like these fires happen every year. Like every year, there's a fire somewhere. And it's kind of one of those, well, we had the fire, we can start the year now. I don't mean to joke, but it's kind of true to some degree that these things tend to happen a lot, which makes sense because it's a barn and it's storing dried leaves. So, of course, you're going to have these incidents. It's unfortunate, but I guess it happens. But it doesn't sound like it's nearly as big of a deal as the AJ Fernandez fire. However, from what I have gathered through some other sources, I think this is a curing barn. And from what I have gathered, the loss here is not so much the tobacco. There was tobacco obviously lost. However, I don't think that is the main thing. I think the barn itself was the main thing. This is not like a situation where it's like, oh my God, they're going to be behind on, cigars for the next 6 months because they're recovering from this loss of tobacco. I don't think that's the case. From what I've heard through my various people, and I have people, believe it or not, I've heard that this is a drying barn where they're hanging the tobacco from the rafters and that sort of thing. And so the true loss is the facility, and not to speak for the Plasencia family. I don't know if they have insurance. That is a question that I did ask. And when I asked, I was basically told, yeah, it's Nicaragua. I don't know if there's insurance. So, anyway, that's that. Sucks. And, we obviously are thinking of the Plasencia family, but I'm so happy that nobody was injured. And, it's just a loss of stuff. Stuff can always be replaced. People cannot. So that's good. So, all right, moving on. We have another story that's we have two kind of like stories, and then we have one happy story. So I'm going to leave the happy story to the end because I think the happy story is pretty cool. So moving on to our next story here. So the Cuban Cigar Festival has been postponed. The Festival Del Habano 26, and it was described in one article as the most important event in the Cuban cigar world, is not going to take place this month. The organizing committee, in a statement they put out, the organizing committee said that they are currently working on setting a new date, which will be announced in a timely manner through official channels of the Habano Festival. The organization appreciates the understanding and continued support of distributors, sponsors, media, and fans, and reaffirms its commitment to return with an edition that honors the tradition, passion, and legacy of Habano. Essentially, what's going on here is that following the United States attack on Venezuela on January 3rd, the American government ramped up pressure on the Cuban government by going after oil suppliers. Venezuela has been a big source of oil for Cuba. And this oil, we're not just talking about, your car oil. We're talking about oil to run the power grid in Cuba. And with that oil from Venezuela now under the control of the United States and the Trump administration, along with direct attacks on the fleet of oil tankers that Cuba used for both oil and foreign cash, and the American government threatening secondary suppliers like Mexico, basically Cuba is experiencing daily blackouts and is coming to a just general standstill. Like, life there is getting extraordinarily difficult, even more so than it was. And it's at the point now that some airlines announced that they can't get jet fuel. And so a lot of countries are stopping passenger flights to Cuba. The United States did. But then also Russia has apparently announced that once the last of their tourists are done in Cuba, they're going to stop passenger flights to Cuba as well. So, everything's kind of going wrong for Cuba with this whole lack of oil situation. And it's resulting in the Festival del Habano 26 being postponed. Now, it's a week-long event, and it's where Habanos SA invites its distributors, retailers, suppliers, and consumers to a series of seminars, factory tours, and dinners, culminating in a gala dinner where elaborate humidors are auctioned off to raise money for the Cuban healthcare system. In 2023 and 2024, the humidor auction alone raised more than $15 million each year. So it's a big deal for the Cuban healthcare system. Additionally, the festival has only, COVID shut it down for a couple of years. But by and large, it's going on. And so it's kind of a big deal. And they are postponing it. But let's be real, folks. This is me getting out my crystal ball and just talking for a moment. We, as a country, have cut off the oil supply to Cuba, which has cut off their ability to have power. Not just, like I said, not just vehicles. This is their electricity and their infrastructure. We've cut off their electricity and their infrastructure. Additionally, we've cut off their ability to basically have tourists, which they were getting tourists from around the world other than the United States. So, that was a influx of money coming into the country. That's been cut off now. So at this point, I don't know what else Cuba has left, but as bizarre as it is for me to even think about, and I was just, I had this conversation with Trebeck the other day, or not too terribly long ago, and I said that I didn't think that I would see the year that Cuba, fell and opened back up and whatever, but this could be the end. This could be the screw to Cuba that causes actual legitimate change, because when you start impacting people's lives to this point, when you take away that little bit that they had, and let's be real, the people there didn't have much to begin with, but when you start taking away that little bit that they did have, boy, yeah, this might be it. This might be it for Cuba. So I would say keep an eye on this, because I do think that the Cuban Cigar Festival getting postponed, quote unquote, my guess, canceled for this year, just my guess. I think that's going to be minor in comparison to some of the change that takes place in Cuba over the course of this year. I do think that before it's said and done, Cuba could be a very different place in late February of 2027 versus what it is in 2026. I don't know. And I don't know if that's and it's fucked up for me to say. I don't know if it's a good thing or not, because how do I put this? I don't know if we as a nation are in the position to be nation building at this point. I think that we're historically bad at nation building. Don't get me wrong. But I think we're probably in a really bad spot to be nation building right now. And I think that this might be a situation where we might break it, but we may not have the ability to put it back together. So the rest of the world may have to step up and help Cuba, get its feet underneath it. And we better hope that what results from that is better than what there is currently, because or something that we can live with better than what there is currently, because there is the distinct possibility that we could break it and something much worse could come along. I don't know. Just saying. All right. Well, enough about that. We have one more bit of news, and it's a fun bit of news. All right. So, for those of you who are big Jonathan Drew Estate fans, and even if you're not, this is a cool thing for the cigar industry as a whole. So, Jonathan Drew and Drew Estate have announced a partnership, and they are creating J. San and Son Manufacturer and Tobacconist. The J. San and Son is going to be a family cigar factory and a world-class cigar bar, live music venue, and full kitchen supper club in Wynwood, Florida, which is basically Miami. It's in the heart of the Wynwood Art District. It's going to open in spring of this year. J. San and Son, by the way, for those of you who maybe don't know, Jonathan Drew's last name is not Drew. His last name is San. So, J. San and Son is the next, they say in the press release, it's the next chapter of the Jonathan Drew story within Drew Estate. Basically, it was inspired by the birth of his son, which I have a picture. There's his son. He's a cute little goober right there running through tobacco with his dad playing a monster behind him going, roar, it's like, he's a cute little goober. Anyway, it's inspired by the birth of his son, and it marks a new level of relationship between Drew Estate and his founder, blah, 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 this kind of stuff. He's saying that it's the start of the generational passing of the torch to Jonathan Drew San Jr., meaning the little guy I just showed you. And it's going to be a partnership venture between San and or Jonathan Drew and Drew Estate. And basically, where do we get to the thing here? Here we go. Now we get to the heart of the matter. So it's going to be a factory. It's going to produce 500 handmade cigars per day. The cigar is going to be the J. San and Son family cigar. They even have their own fancy little band here, J. San and Son. And it's going to have, it's basically going to be a home base for Jonathan Drew and any partners that, he wants to work with to play around. It's going to be his little Frankenstein's lab in a roundabout way. He's going to be able to do stuff. It's 4 blocks from his house. He's going to be immersed in it, and he's going to be able to just truly have a good old time at this factory. It's going to open in spring of 2026. The website is going to become become operational later. Jonathan's family factory brands will be available to be purchased in person at the Wynwood venue. So you can go there and you can buy his cigars, They also have a website that you can buy his cigars at, jsanandson.com. And additionally, Drew Estate plans to distribute J. San and Son manufactured brands on an extremely exclusive basis due to the production limitation of only 500 cigars daily. So, you've got that going on. So, Drew Estate gets a little bit of something out of this. Jonathan Drew gets a little bit of something out of this, whatever. J. San and Son will also offer a curated selection of cigars both in-store and online from the world's biggest cigar brands, boutiques, and new discoveries. So keep that in mind, because I'm going to circle back to this in a minute. The cigar selection is made exclusively of brands with personal meaning to Jonathan Drew, serving as a selected snapshot of the cigars that demand celebration in the modern-day marketplace. Then, the facility will have a bar and kitchen with a world-class menu led by Chef Julian Ning, who has a 20-year-long career, includes serving as the chef de cuisine at the Michelin-starred Goosefoot in Chicago and as the chef de cuisine at the James Beard Award-winning Kong River House in Miami. Chef Ning promises to deliver a palette of flavors and culinary perspective unlike anything previously seen in a cigar-centric venue. The J. San and Son facility will also offer exclusive space to share deep immersive branded experiences, entertaining visitors with live music and experimental evenings designed to foster community and welcome cigar enthusiasts of all way of life. Live performances at J. San and Son will celebrate brand stories and share the rawest, most impactful aspects of the founders' journeys. When asked what this means, Jonathan Drew said, means for Drew Estate. Jonathan Drew said, I will continue to serve as president and chief innovation officer of Drew Estate. J. San and Son is not a goodbye. It's a continuation of a beautiful journey that began 30 years ago. At the end of the day, J. San and Son is a cigar culture center, unlike anything that exists on the planet. I want to rekindle the feeling of our opening in Nicaragua, but here in the United States where it's accessible to cigar lovers, and I hope you all can join us. Okay. So what does all that mean? Sorry, I'm keeping my cigar going. So obviously, Jonathan Drew has decided he's going to build Drew Estate Disneyland. And that's kind of the way I look at it. He's going to have a factory where they're going to be banging out 500 cigars a day of his blends or brands, whatever. They're going to have food and drink, and they're going to have live music and entertainment space. It's actually a really cool thing, and to be honest, I like the idea. I think other brands could pull something like that. Let's be real. Up until this announcement, JC Newman held the cigar related event space kind of situation like to themselves. You know, they had El Reloj and they were making that a destination and they were turning that into Cigar Disneyland. And I think it's I don't think it's bad that we have two kind of cigar related destinations to check out. I enjoy El Reloj. I look forward to checking out the hotel facility that they're renovating across the street. I think that's a cool thing. And in this case, I actually, while I maybe am not the biggest Drew Estate guy, because, I'm not that, it's a culture, and it's not a culture that I firmly am into. It's a let's have a rave tent on a tobacco farm in Kentucky kind of culture. And that's fine. That's fine, but it's just not, it's not quite me. But in his own words, I mean, this shit is straight amplification, yo. So, I think it's good that he's doing something different. I think it's something unique and it's fun. Now, where can I see some people getting bent out of shape? I can see retailers getting really bent out of shape about the prospect of Jonathan Drew coming out with limited edition, because let's call it what it is. 500 cigars daily. That's a limited edition cigar. It's not necessarily a limited edition in that it's only going to be available for a period of time. It's going to be it's not a limited run as much as it's limited availability cigar. And the only place you can definitely get it is J. San & Son. And where can you get it other than J. San & Son? You can go to J. San & Son, whatever the website is, .com. And you can order it. And therein lies the thing that I think retailers are going to have an issue with. This is yet another example that I've seen lately of brands dipping their toe in the water of direct-to-consumer. And don't think for a moment that the curated selection of additional cigars available on that website isn't going to be a bunch of Drew Estate stuff, to where suddenly, through Jonathan Drew, through J. San & Son, Swisher / Drew Estate is going to find a way to start offering direct-to-consumer. So, you've got that going on. And like I said, this is not the first example of a brand doing direct-to-consumer lately. Casa Carrillo, with their social media cigars, that's direct-to-consumer. That's not going to the stores. Stores will never see those blends. Those are going straight to the consumer as prizes for doing social media contests and things like that. So they're finding ways. These companies are finding ways to go direct to consumer, but at the same time, able to go to a consumer and look them in the eye and be like, hey, this is a little thing. It's a little project. It's not, a big deal. This is just a little thing. We're doing contests with our social media. We're doing work with Jonathan at this one facility. It's very limited amount of cigars. It's going to be a thing. It's not that big of a deal. That's what this, and once again, getting out my crystal ball and looking ahead, I wonder how long it is before you see more brands just say, fuck it, let's go for it. Let's put it out there. Let's go direct to consumer. Let's make it happen. Dealing with retailers can be a hassle. It can be limiting in that, let's say a brand is really, really saturated on the East Coast, but just can't penetrate the Midwest and the West Coast. They're looking at 3/4 of the country that they really have no penetration in. Fuck it. Put up a website and go for it. Just make it available that way. I really do think before this is all said and done, you're going to see a number of brands decide, yeah, you know what? Our business model has protected the retailer, and it's to our detriment in terms of how much money we could be making. So fuck it, let's just go direct to consumer. I think that's happening. I think those conversations are happening. I think brands are looking at it and doing that. And you know where I think a lot of this drive is coming from is these new generations coming up. The old guys that have been in charge forever, you know, they do things the way they do it. But you've got new generations coming up now. And these new generations are looking at the picture and they're saying, you know, we're leaving money on the table by not just putting this on a website and letting people just buy and ship it to themselves straight from us. We could literally cut the middleman. And that's what I suspect might be happening with some of these brands. I think these conversations are happening. And I think that you're going to see more and more of it. Is it going to be direct? Is it or blatant? You know, is it going to be, here's our whole catalog on our website. You can go and you can buy what you want. Or is it going to be this, you know, kind of ticky-tacky, playing around the edges? Oh, we're having a contest. Oh, we're doing this facility, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But I think that's happening. Now, going back to the J. San & Son facility. Again, I think it's a cool thing. I have every intention of going to check it out, at least just to see it. I think the more cigar related, what's the word I'm looking for? Destinations that can be created, that the industry can create, I think the better. You know, I think back to when, El Rey Lo was starting their tours, and I talked to the Newmans, and Drew Newman. God, I'm thinking Drew, and I'm like, no, I'm talking about Jonathan Drew, and it's like, no, Drew Newman. I'm getting my names mixed up here. So when I was talking to Drew Newman, he specifically said that that part of his goal with that was to when people think about wine, they want to go to, you know, the Napa Valley. They want to go out to California and they want to take the wine tours and shit. Well, when he wanted it to where when people think cigars, come to Ybor City, visit El Rey Lo. And I think he's done a really, really good job with making that a destination. They're doing tours out the ass. They do weddings. They do all kinds of other things. They've got this facility they're rehabbing so that they can offer up some bed and breakfast space across the street and a cigar lounge and everything. I think it's wonderful. I think what they have done has been truly, truly wonderful. And again, it does offer the ability to go to a factory in the United States, which is something that a lot of cigar consumers, maybe that's the only experience they're going to have. Because, I mean, how many of us are going to have the ability to hop on a plane and go to these facilities down in Honduras, Nicaragua, and the Dominican? You know, it's open, but it's not open. You know, you got to figure it out. You got to know people. You got to get in on it. It's that kind of thing. So I do think it's kind of a cool thing that they offer the factory experience in Tampa. And now, Jonathan Drew, to his credit, is offering a factory experience in Miami. I don't know how many people he's going to have rolling. 500 cigars daily doesn't feel like a lot of people. But then again, there's not a lot of people rolling, like hand rolling, at El Rey Lo. You know, they make the American there. But by and large, the majority of the cigars made at El Rey Lo are made on the little machine assisted, or the machines. They've got people that are making cigars on machines. So, you know, I think they only have like 3 or 4 rollers at El Rey Lo. Maybe they only have 3 or 4 rollers at J. San & Sons, but it's something. It's the experience, and it's something. I I think it's a cool thing. I think it's a space that can be used for Drew Estate related events and parties. I would think maybe it would be open to other people to use as parties. I mean, it's it's an event space. It's going to have to make money. So why would you not, make it open to other people? And to be honest, I'm interested in trying the cigars. Why not? It's a limited thing, or it's an exclusive thing, I should say. It's not limited, it's exclusive. So, yeah, I'm going to, like all of us, like every single one of us listening to this, as long as it's not some like infused thing that tastes like a bouquet of flowers, yeah, I'm going to want to try it just because I'm going to want to try it. And I think the concept's cool. And to be honest, this feels like something for Jonathan Drew to do. I might be talking out of my ass for a moment, but like, I don't know what he's been up to. I mean, I see him at trade shows and whatever else, but like, I don't know what he's been up to. It feels like he's kind of been there, but just kind of there. This gives the guy something to do, and I respect that, and I think that's cool. If he's going to do it with his kids, even better. I think that's a good thing. Now, granted, his little guy that's in the picture, I don't know how much he's going to be spending time at the cigar factory, but, he'll get there. He'll get there. It's fine. But, yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it's something different. I think it's something cool. And, I think it adds to the, cigar destination checklist. And I think it's also kind of cool that it's in Florida because, now, you get a couple of these together. Now you can start doing like a little trek. You can have, fly into Tampa, check out El Reloj and Ybor City, take a drive over here, check this thing out, take a drive over there, check that thing out, drive down to Miami, check this out, check out the J. Sand and Son, whatever, and bug out of Miami airport if you want to. That's the thing. There's the ability to make a week-long cigar related journey if you wanted to, by getting a couple of these facilities put together. So I don't think this is a bad thing at all. The only thing that, like I said, I'm going to be very curious to sit and watch is, I think the reaction from some retailers about this might be interesting because this definitely feels like I said, this is another toe in the water of direct to consumer from a brand, and it's a big brand. This is not, no offense to Casa Carrillo. They're not Drew Estate. They're not Swisher, so like this is a bigger brand putting their toe in the water and saying, yeah, we're going to have a website and you can buy these exclusive brands on that website. And blah, 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 blah. And hey, it might have a selection of Drew Estate on there as well. And, yeah, let's be real. It's coming from J. Sand and Son, which is partnered with Drew Estate, but like, it's Drew Estate. I mean, it's a pass through. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how this all shakes out. So anyway, that's your news. Yeah. If you want, sign up for the Cigar Chronicle newsletter. Head on over to cigarpulpit.com. Little box will pop up there for the newsletter. And, maybe you might see some of this and that. But you'll see other stuff too. So it'll be cool. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, it's free. You should head on over there and put your email address in and do that. In terms of my cigar, my Plasencia Reserva Original, I'm talking too much, and it continually keeps going out on me, which is very unfortunate because this is not a cigar I want to be constantly lighting and dicking with. This is one that I would like to just stay lit and go. But it's the little of it that I've smoked has been very pleasant. So let's get into this now. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. Boy, I'll give this thing this. It is when you get it going, it's a little smokestack, and it's good. I do love Plasencia cigars. I don't smoke many of them because, quite frankly, I don't have the money to smoke many of them. But when I do smoke them, they are special little treats. And so I am enjoying this guy. I've actually been sitting back and saving this guy for a while with the intention of just actually being able to truly enjoy it. But given the fact that they had their fire and I was going to be talking about that, I figured, well, let's go ahead and do that. Because I didn't have a J. Sand & Son cigar sitting around, so I figured, well, I'll smoke a Plasencia. So, anyway, Villiger Entertainment Report. So, since I've last talked to you fine folks, I've had my son. And I had my son extra this weekend because Monday was President's Day. And so, because of that, he was off school. So I had him up until about midday, just after lunchtime on Monday. And so I had even less time to watch anything. So I've watched a lot of Clifford the Big Red Dog. He's been very big into Clifford this weekend. I don't know why. Storybots, we've bounced back and forth between Storybots and Clifford, but there's been a lot of Clifford going on this weekend, which I'm okay with. It's something different. I like Clifford. I don't know how familiar you are with the animated adventures of Clifford, but he has two friends. He has a yellow bulldog named T-Bone and a purple poodle named Cleo that are his friends. But then there's, all the little kids, Emily Elizabeth, this little girl, and everybody else. And so, they all hang out and have fun. But, there's been a lot of Clifford going on. And then obviously Storybots. Now, in terms of what I've been able to watch, I have, I saw a clip online and it got me intrigued enough that I have now watched 6 episodes of this, of the reboot or return of DuckTales on Disney Plus. So, God, when would this have been? Shit, I was still married when this came out, so we're probably talking just prior to COVID, maybe 2019. You know what? Let's just Google when this came out. Not that anybody really cares. By the way, I just typed in DickTales, and that was not what I wanted to do, but it gave me the correct thing. And that's good. Looks like 2017 actually was when the revised one started. And it was 3 seasons? So I guess here we go. Ran from August 12th, 2017 to, for God's sakes, March 15th, 2021. 3 seasons. And it's DuckTales, Wii U, but animation slightly different. Stories are, a little updated. But I'm digging it. I'm digging the changes. I'm liking that they're incorporating Donald Duck into it, which is something they did not do in the original DuckTales. If you go back and I love the old Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck comics from way back, the Carl Barks and the Don Rosa comics about those guys created duck lore. I mean, it is they totally created all of the lore of the Disney ducks. And one of the best reads is, if you can get a copy of it, is The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. It's an amazing comic, and it goes through, it's his whole biography. It talks about how he made his money, all of the different adventures and everything. It's fantastic. I love it. And I'm not a huge Disney person. I want to preface this by saying I am not what you would call a Disney adult. I actually make fun of Disney adults. I am not a Disney adult. I am not a big Disney person. If I never go to Disney World again, I will be fine. I've had my fill of that. But the ducks, I do like the ducks. And so I've watched 6 episodes of this new DuckTales, and it's solid, and I'm digging it. And so I'm going to keep watching DuckTales because I enjoyed it. So there's that. All righty. Well, that's essentially what you get out of me. I'm behind on Killer in the Code. There have been, I think, 2 episodes that have come out since I last talked about that. But I would imagine it's probably wrapping up sometime soon because I think 9 episodes of it are out now. And some of you have listened to it. I've heard from some of you about it. And I mean, it's good. It's a good podcast. I get nothing from it. I get nothing from endorsing it, but it's a good show. I'm digging it. So anyway.
Guess what, motherfucker?
It's time for 3 cigars I smoked and enjoyed this week. And let me bring up my handy-dandy little spreadsheet here. What have I smoked that I can tell you about? Oh my God, what have I smoked that I can tell you about? So, first thing I want to mention, I sat out here the other night, a couple nights back, and smoked a Villiger La Libertad cigar. And, the La Libertad, it's not one that I feel like it came out, got a lot of promotion in there, and then other stuff came out afterwards, and it kind of like fell away. The 1888 Nicaragua, I think, came out, kind of stole thunder. La Capitan came out, stole the thunder. I think the La Libertad is just kind of hanging back, just kind of living its life and doing its thing. And I really dig the La Libertad because that cigar is the one that Renee was promoting at TPE when I met Renee. Oh God, would that be 2021, 21, 22, 21? Something like that. Whatever year it was. I think it was 21. That was the cigar they were promoting, was the La Libertad. And, so that always sticks in my mind. It's like that cigar, I relate that cigar to meeting Renee. And so it's nice. I enjoy it. The next one that I smoked that I enjoyed was the Aganorsa Leaf Anniversario in the Maduro. That was a good little cigar. It was a little Robusto, just something to kind of kill a little time and enjoy. And nice and tasty. I dug that one quite a bit, even though it was box pressed. And speaking of box press, one that I smoked and enjoyed, that I want to end this with was a Blackbird Crow. I smoked a box press version of the Crow, and I had that ironically on Valentine's Day. Sat out here on Valentine's Day and had that nice red band to go with that. It was my Valentine to myself, I guess. So yeah, I had that going on. Anyway, so those are my 3 that I smoked and enjoyed this week. What have you guys been smoking and that you enjoyed? I like hearing that stuff. I don't get to hear, what you've been smoking and enjoying lately. So, yeah, when you call into the hotline, let me know. Let me know what you've been smoking and enjoying. I like knowing that. I get to learn about other cigars sometimes too, because, we all live in our little bubbles. I live in my little bubble. I have my cigars that I like and that I dig and that I go for. And so, every once in a while, somebody comes along and says, man, you got to try this thing. It's good to get some recommendations once in a while. Anyway, well, the socials. I am available on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I am on Facebook where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group. It's a private group. Find it. request access, I'm going to let you in. And then you can get in there and you can start sharing and posting your cigars that you're smoking and enjoying yourself. I'm on Twitter/X. You can watch this on Rumble and YouTube. And call the hotline. I just mentioned the hotline. Call the hotline. Area code 863-874-0000. That's 863-874-0000 or Tofu Pie 0000. Call that. Leave your comments, questions, concerns, recipes, requests for dating advice, whatever you might possibly have to talk to me about. Just call and interact. And then during one of the Ask the Pulpit shows, I will play your message and I will respond. That's how that works. It's very simple. It gives me someone to talk to when I'm by myself. Otherwise, I told you earlier about going to cigarpulpit.com, signing up for the newsletter. The newsletter should be hitting inboxes this week. So sometime this week, you guys will be getting the second edition of the Cigar Chronicle. So be watching for that. And aside from that, I think that's all she wrote. It's kind of a short episode, I know. Not quite an hour. But that's all right. We don't always have to go for marathons here. But anyway, that's that. Guys, thank you so much for taking time out. By the way, final thoughts. I dig the Plasencia Reserva original. I'm really going to dig being able to actually sit and smoke it after I hit stop on the board here because I'm talking so much that it just keeps going out on me. But I'm looking forward to actually being able to enjoy it. And yeah, that's about it. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for taking time out. I appreciate it as always. This is Nick. Another sermon, blah, blah, blah. Everybody, stay safe, stay smoky. Later.